Hi, my name is Shawn Ryan, and I'm a PhD candidate at Penn State University, and I'm here to present an abstract for our article titled Correlation Properties of Collective Motion in Bacterial Suspensions. This work was done in collaboration with my advisor, Professor Leonid Berlyand at Penn State, as well as Andrey Sokolov and Igor Aranson at Argonne National Laboratory. The objective of this work is to study the non-trivial spatial-temporal correlations that emerge in the course of collective swimming of motile bacteria. A new ultrasound experiment is performed on a suspension of Bacillus subtilis where an initially large vortex is induced and the system settles down into a collective state once the ultrasound is turned off. The following video illustrates this experiment. In this movie, a drop of bacterial suspension is placed on a glass slide alongside an ultrasound transducer. The ultrasound is switched on, which results in the generation of surface capillary waves in the drop. Now we zoom in to see what effect this has on the suspension. Once the ultrasound is turned off, collective patterns begin to emerge. To study collective phenomena observed in experiment, a simple theoretical model is introduced, where a bacterium is represented as a point force dipole with size through a repulsion potential and shape. The model takes into account two fundamental mechanisms: dipole or hydrodynamic interactions and short-range bacterial collisions. Efficient numerical simulations of the model capture the transition to the collective state. In the following movie taken from simulation, we see local regions of collective motion characterized by high vorticity in red or blue. One can see from this movie that regions of collective motion form and move with the flow. The arrows in the movie represent the local fluid velocity. A striking result was observed, namely the correlation length is independent of the concentration and swimming speed beyond a critical concentration threshold despite the greater injection of energy. This verifies the experimental work of Sokolov and Aranson, recently published in PRL in 2012. Also, we obtained many new results. First, we studied the onset of collective motion by investigating the evolution of the correlation length versus time. Next, we used simulations to separate the effects of tumbling and low swimming speed to identify tumbling as the true source of the decrease in correlation length when the oxygen concentration is low in experiment. Finally, we study the effects of the aspect ratio and dipole moment, which may be hard to control in experiment, to demonstrate that swimmer size and shape are responsible for the properties of the collective state. One of the many interesting conclusions of this work is that collisions tend to increase the correlation length, whereas hydrodynamic interactions tend to decrease the correlation length. This shows that the collective dynamics in purely hydrodynamic models may be fundamentally different than that observed in experiments such as Sokolov and Aranson. I hope that you find this paper interesting, and if you have any further questions, please contact us.